So when we are looking at graphs, because any set of relations is a set of points and any set of points can be graphed, we can then look at a graph, and instead of having to pull the points away from it and make a mapping diagram or a table, which you could do, we can look at the graph and decide by using what is called the vertical line test. Keep in mind that our x values go horizontally, right? And so if my x value can only have one y value, then when I'm looking at a graph, I want, or when I draw a vertical line through my x-axis, I should only cross any point or the graph itself, if it's a line or some type of curve, I should only pass it once. And so like when I look at this first one and I'm drawing, and you can take like a pencil or something and just put it vertically against your screen and go through your function or relation, more so because we're deciding if it's a function, to decide whether or not it crosses, or your pencil crosses the relation more than once. I'm going to, for you to see, going to draw through these. So here, and they're not going to be perfect vertical lines, but I'm drawing through at all the x values where I have points. And I'm going to circle if there's any issues. And again, all it takes for something to not be a function is for it to not pass our test once. So when I look at this first vertical line I drew, it went through 2 points. And so at that moment, I know that this is not a function. It did not pass the vertical line test. But I can also see it here at -1, and at 0 we passed through 2 points, and at 1 we passed through 2 points. So at each of those places we failed the vertical line test, making this not a function. Now when I look over here, and even though this looks like it is a straight line, it's most likely just because, of how I zoomed out so that we could see. And again, see, I told you these vertical lines are not going to be great. But as I draw or move my pencil across, and I'm trying to draw vertical lines very poorly, but trying, I am noticing that I am not crossing my graph, more than once. And so this one is a function. And again, a little harder to tell because of how far out the grid is. But if I draw those vertical lines, I'm not touching more than 1 point on that graph at a time. And so each vertical line, or each x value, has only one y value, and that's what we're looking for. So then our last example, use the vertical line test to determine if each graph represents a function. So here, and these are easier because I can more easily see lines to trace. As I draw my vertical line through this line, it only crosses, each vertical line crosses our graph once, and so this one would be considered a function. And again, our vertical line test is just a visual representation on a graph of the fact that x can only have one y value, or for every input there can only be exactly one output. So again, here I go. Of course that dot's not on, these dots aren't exactly on lines. But as I go through drawing through these dots to see, here I notice that I crossed twice, so this is not a function. And then my last one, drawing through here, and I could draw, I don't have to draw just on the lines. Again, it's one of those things, you could just take your pencil to the screen and move it across and go, oh, my pencil only crosses the graph in each position only once. And so this is a function. And that's how we can use the vertical line test when given a graph in order to determine whether we have a function or not a function. And that is it for 7.1.